with a call to government to consider allocating more resources to the transport sector. Officiating at the meeting, the Prime Minister Robinah Nabbanja expressed concerns over some technical people and politicians in local government who connive to steal public funds, submitting fake accountability documents in return. More details in this report.
Prime Minister Robinah Nabbanja has expressed concern regarding the unprofessional conduct of some technocrats in local governments who connive with local politicians and private contractors to steal public funds meant for road projects in their areas. Officiating at the second annual Integrated Transport Infrastructure and Services Review meeting organized by the Ministry of Works and Transport at Speak Resort Munyonyo, the Prime Minister also challenged local leaders to be vigilant regarding government projects in their areas.
I repeat, the technical officials connive amongst themselves and provide fake accountabilities for roads not worked on, and this must stop. I repeat, this must stop because we are now aware.
She also decried the unregulated transport systems like borders, which she said account for over 70% of accidents in Uganda. General Katumba Wamala, the Transport and Works Minister, cited inadequate supervision capacity by the ministry and local governments as one of the challenges.
It is right, there is abuse, we can't deny that. But one of the challenges which you had even in our presentation is the fact that we don't have supervisory vehicles, not even from the headquarters. Because at least if we had, people from the headquarters would be able to visit these districts.
Mole Asimwe, the Rwampara woman MP, urged the ministry to consider allocating road equipment to the 16 new districts like Rwampara, which depend on borrowing the equipment from nearby districts.
Time of starting the new district, we did not inherit any road equipment. Currently, the district depends on borrowing from neighbors, Mbarara, Isinjiro, Ntungamo, and Rwampara. By nature, it has hills and valleys.
Fred Tumwine Nkuruho, the chairman of the Road Safety Civil Society Coalition, LOSCO, hailed the ministry's new plans of reducing road accidents, although more needs to be done.
As civil society organization, we are making sure that we support the government in sensitization, in trainings, and in advocacy. For example, we in Lusako and Ureno, we are making sure that we improve and we strengthen regulations in safe road use.
The meeting also discussed some new measures to regulate the mushrooming motor garages and spare parts trade on the market. The meeting was conducted under the theme Optimizing Transport and Infrastructure Services for Socio-Economic Development. Edward Colin Juko for UBC, Speak Resort Munyonyo.
In other news, 12 medical officers attached to the Somali security forces and various medical facilities in Jubaland State have graduated after successfully completing an 8-month training to improve their skills. It was a collaborative effort between the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia and the Jubaland Federal Member State Ministry of Health. The medical officers, including 2 from the Somali Nation Army and 10 civilians, were trained in various areas including laboratory procedures, general medical knowledge, trauma, combat, casualty care, hospital management, nursing, pharmacy and midwifery. The graduation ceremony was presided over by the commander of ATMI's forces in Sector 2, Brigadier Jatani Gula, and top officials from the Jubaland State Ministry of Health at the Dobeli Level 2 Hospital.
And when we sat down with the hospital administration,
okay, congratulations. Okay.
He was able to get 61%, which is a C and a pass.
Today, this morning, I officiated the graduation of 2 Somali security forces and 10 civilian medics in the aforementioned critical capabilities, as I've mentioned, who have undergone about 8 months of training, who are going to contribute to human health security in Doble and surrounding areas. Yes. Congratulations, Maria.
Mario Mata.
Well done, well done.
Yeah.
Well done, Nurto.
She was able to get a mean score of 70, which is a B.
Well done, eh? Okay.
He was able to get 53%, which is a C, and a B.
Ahmed, congratulations. Maria.
runtii aqoontooda inay maarata ay kororto oo waxyaalo badan maarata runtii ay ku soo kordhiyaan isbitaalka baan rajaynaynaa dhinaca maarata aqoonta horaan waxa dhici jirtay maarata in dad fara badan oo bukaan maarata inaan admis level 2 hospital aan u dirno oo xagga maarata lagu daaweeyo laakiin hadda maadaama staffka training dhameystiran ay heleen waxaan rajaynaynaa insha Allah maarata culeyska inuu har doono dadka xanuunsan ee bukaanka isbitaalka imaanayna shaqaalaha maanta la tababaray difaacaddii koowaad runtii inay wax badan ay ka taraan referralkiina uu hoos u dhaco baan aad aan rajaynaynaa.
So Kim was able to get 69.
Okay. Well done. Well done.
wasaaradda caafimaadka Jubbaland oo runtii qayb ka ahayd inaan arintan aan sameeyno koorsaan aan ka qalin jibino cilmi kororsiga ah iyo cid walba oo sidoo kale waxaan mahad celinayaa qayb ka qaadatay inaan maanta soo istaagno halkan oo aan cilmigaas kororsano sida inoo sheegeen waxa waa groupyo kale iyo wax kalena way jiri doonaan marka waxaan ku baaqaa in wasaaradda ay sii wado dadaalkeeda oo halkaas ay ka sii wado sida anaga noogu faa'iideeyeen cid kalena oo healthy ka shaqeysan ay ugu faa'iideystaan
level deployed across
Furthermore, Masaka City is famous for the country's sweetest grasshoppers, a business that has boomed in this area since the late 80s. Have you ever taken keen interest to know the process taken to collect, trap this delicacy in Uganda? Let's find out from this report.
Grasshoppers, locally known as Insenene, are bush crickets that migrate twice a year after the rainy seasons between April to June and November to December. They are a group of insects belonging to the suborder Califera of the kingdom Animalia, and they undergo an incomplete metamorphosis life cycle. Tracking, trapping and collecting of these insects started in Budu, Buganda County, at a local village of Nyendo Mukungwe in Masaka in the 80s. It's based on this ideology that many Ugandans think the insects swarm in Masaka, where they are trapped before their destination to other regions of the country. However, those into the business confirm the insects fly in other localities, only that the exercise was started by groups from Masaka.
Masaka is regarded as the center place for the grasshoppers. Most of the other places they used to catch grasshoppers locally from the bushes using hand picking the grasshoppers. But Masaka, it's the place where people officially started the grasshopper as a business.
Nesibera nti zakendeddewoko kye twakola kinga abantu abatandika omulimu kwe kugenda nga tugaziya bannaffe ne tubajja wano ne bagenda balumba ebitundu era buli gy'olaba bakwata ensenene bazikwata bantu bawa.
I traversed different trap and tracking sites in Nyendo at night to acquaint myself with the entire process. Time check was 8 p.m. and I thought I would start filming the process. But this wasn't the case at the 5 sites I visited first. The night skies looked occupied with a few insects. It was until 2 o'clock in the morning that I had a reason to smile at the swarms. Comparing the business in nature that calls for trapping now and then, a lot has changed. The method of trapping them in bushes and plantations seems to have phased out.
System ngemu obabiri singa ensenene ziba zizze abantu batera okugula obusunku buno obuva ku kutabya embaawo
zagwanga mu matale naye zikwatira ku ttaala Idi Amin kasita yaleeta ebitala bino eby'oku makubo ne zijjanga zigwa ku makubo ne ttandiko zikwatira ku makubo okwo.
Someone wants to catch grasshoppers, you need to get a drum. After getting a drum, You need to buy iron sheets. Second thing, it's the lamps, the pressure lamps. You need to buy the wires which will transfer electricity from the chokes to the lamps so that the lamps can light very well, bright light, to bring bright light in the sky. After getting the wires, you need to get the chokes. The chokes which works as the transformers or the boosters of the light.
The leaders and local communities are not hesitant to share the benefits of this business to Nyendo and Uganda in general.
Because I have 60 drums and 6 iron sheets, the period of 2 months, approximately, I can earn like 5 million. And those 5 millions, you can start a business, a small car shop.
Nezikuziza n'abaana bange koze emirimu mingi naye ogw'enseenene gwo tegusingika.
Ndabirira abaana bange okulya okunywa byonna n'okwambala.
Ninga ffe ng'abakulembeze akaseera k'enseenene tufunamu obuweerero kubanga abantu bakubafunaafunayo kaki ku kasente naye abanga basobola okukola ku bizibu byabwe singa ziba zizze mu bujju.
Omulimu gwaffe omukulu wano ng'ekitongole ekitwala ab'enseenene mu Uganda kuyamba bannaffe bakulaakulanya kubajja ku ddaala erisooka bazza ku ddaala eddala.
However, the business also has a number of challenges.
This is a season which is competitive, where people know that the grasshoppers follow in pretty sums. The prices of the materials we use increases a lot. That is a challenge. And the other challenge, which is so delicate, is the electricity shock. For these people who pick grasshoppers, the challenge of the skin being burnt, the wounds, people having rough faces, that challenge becomes first on the lamps, the pressure lamps, because those lamps always use mercury. They are mercury lamps. For us to get a lot of light in the sky, even we put excess chokes, like because that pressure lamp it's for 400 watts, and for us we have to double that watt so that it brings a lot of light.
Trappers also decryed the heavy electric charges and taxes on the equipment, with more worry on the anticipated taxation to be imposed on them by Masaka City Council. There are also numerous beliefs, myths and cultural trends linked to the insects in Buganda.
Ekirala enseenene ezo zakwatibwanga wanedda abakyala bakwatanga enseenene wabangawo ebyawanuuzibwanga edda. Emizizo egyasookanga okukolebwa katana zitwalya bawanuuzanga nga bagamba nti sente z'enseenene tibwotunda enseenene sente ezo tezikola business.
They used to say that a pregnant woman cannot eat grasshoppers. If you eat the grasshoppers when you are pregnant, it's likely to produce a baby with a head with apex like that of a grasshopper. There is the other saying that if you wake up in the night and you see the grasshoppers, you must not say anything about it. You must keep quiet, and you do some cultural things like folding the grasshoppers down when the head is facing down so that you can trap a lot of grasshoppers.
The beneficiaries from this informal business have, however, refuted the utterances and allegations that they use poisonous chemicals to trap them.
Kolera butto nekola ekirungo kyawe bajukutera ku sowaani akawoowo kokka n'okulozaako olyako eddekende ly'owuliramu.
People getting complaints about them. One thing is the cleanness of the equipments we use. Like us, you know that most people, they say that for us we want grasshoppers from Masaka, because they know that people of Masaka, they took grasshopper trapping as a business. They clean their equipments, like these barrels, the drums, we use cassava flour in them or cooking oil so that we make the grasshoppers clean.
Ate bw'ova ku kyemmere nga n'ebiriisa ebigirimu bya waggulu nnyo yiga kati tuzitegesezza.
Wholesalers buy these insects from collectors, sell them to retailers in Kampala and other business towns and cities before they are taken to Natete, Katwe, Busega and other markets in Kampala. This trade business has seen trappers become wealthy. I'm Ivan Juko for UBC News.
Very well thought through story. Thank you, Ivan Juko. Now, in other news, high literacy levels and concealment of information have been cited as the leading cause of corruption in Karamoja sub-region. According to Moroto District RDC George William Wapua, the District Service Commission and Procurement are the corruption breeding areas. He said this during the commemoration of the Anti-Corruption Day in Moroto, which was under the theme Citizens Owning the War to Eliminate Corruption.
Persisted for young people is teenage pregnancy. It's increasing, and I think it actually increased a lot, especially in the past year due to the impact of COVID, and of course again this year due to the impact of drought, and that led to food insecurity. Young girls, many of them were forced into child marriage because of that. So teenage pregnancy is a very big SRH issue for young people here. Discussions we're having with them, you could see that the young people lack information about HIV because their assumption is that HIV is mostly spread when someone cuts you with a sharp object that they've already used. But then you see that they don't have information that it's also it's actually highly sexually transmitted. And that is one of the things, and also, of course, recent statistics still show that there's an increase in HIV infections among young people as well, even in Karamoja. And those are the things we need to strengthen conversations around. But of course, also other issues around young people being involved in a lot of alcohol and drug abuse. It's very common here in Karamoja. Quite a number of young people really take alcohol, and then majority end up dropping out of school because of probably lack of fees or lack of parental support, and then they end up getting married so early. You'll find a young boy of 18 years is actually having a wife who is probably also 16.
To parents, if you have a child who is addicted to any kind of drug, you don't pressurize the child. You don't put so much pressure on the child, because the more pressure you put on the child the more the child runs to the drug to get relief. Our parents expect us to start our own lives maybe when we are 18 plus or 20 plus. Or maybe when you finish school, they want you to leave home and then start your own life. And then, you get pressurized, you start thinking so much, then you find yourself getting relief from the drugs and then the alcohol.
Go into deeper steps of learning. So it was exciting. And the best thing about the youth camp was there is freedom of speech. You're given freedom to speak. You're given freedom to speak out your mind. To speak out your mind without fear.
Furthermore, members of the Industrial National Coordinating Council Uganda are undertaking a campaign dubbed 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence at the Workplace. The campaigners are also reminding government to ratify ILO Convention 190 of 2019 that advocates for the elimination of violence and harassment in the world of work.
Against abuse. Act against abuse.
Industrial joins other global actors to campaign against gender-based violence and harassment.
Against abuse. Act against abuse. Act against abuse.
The 16 days have seen various stakeholder interactions publicize laws that represent marginalized workers in Uganda.
So these workplaces have to be safer for every woman and girl, because at the end of the day, every woman and girl has a place in the community and back in our villages and back in our city that would be relevant for us to have on board.
Government of Uganda's Employment Sexual Harassment Regulations of 2012 requires an employer with more than 25 employees to adopt a written policy against sexual harassment. The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence and harassment come at a time when Uganda is in its final stages of ratifying the ILO Convention 190.
Please do not demonstrate. Okay. Government is in harmony with you. We have developed this law together.
We have reached the cabinet level now. We are going to present it in January, and the government will certainly ratify, because we do not want our workers' rights abused.
The campaign will speak loud and bring out the instances and the different sexual harassment and violence cases that are on in the different factory and facilities that are on the ground at the moment.
Since 1991, this campaign is commemorated both in Uganda and around the world on an annual basis, spread between the days 25th of November and 10th of December. Wadulo, Mark Arnold, UBC News in Kampala. Yes, and that brings us to the end of our lunchtime news this afternoon. Thank you for being a lovely audience. My name is Wadulo, Mark Arnold. Once again, have yourselves a lovely one.